Welcome to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. I'm Rick Ripma, your hardworking mortgage guy, and today we're talking to Jason Pearson. Jason's with Carpenter. I always want to say Carpenter Better Homes and Gardens. It's
That's
Carpenter
what it used to be.
Realtors.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about your Porchfest in Noblesville, Indiana.
Correct. Noblesville Front Porch Music Fest on Logan Street.
On Logan Street. And you were on the show, and it was so fascinating. I'm very fascinated by the Porchfest, and it's like I didn't know about it. Now, in fairness, I also didn't know Carmel had one.
Right.
So,
well, and to your, it's only a year. This is our third year, so we haven't gained full traction yet. So people are still. It's okay that you didn't know about it.
Okay, but what a great thing. We're always looking for great things to go do.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the things that I'm a big fan of with this is it's not only something to do, it's something free to do. And it's also I want to say vendor free as well. So it's just come, show up, and enjoy the day.
Yeah, so it's other than food, right?
Food. There's food, and we'll have food and drink.
Okay.
So there'll be wine and beer available as well.
Well, that seems fair.
Yeah.
People can pay for that.
Yeah.
Right. That's just a great thing to do. I just think it's awesome. So tell us about. I mean, you know it inside and out. You started it. You've been doing it. So tell us about the festival. How many bands?
Sure.
What's it all about?
We started off 2 years ago with 12 bands on 12 porches, or no, 10 bands on 9 porches, and we grew last year to 12 bands on 12 porches. And one of the things that we noticed was for year one, no one was coming to us hey, can we play in your event? It was I had to reach out and find. I was becoming a music promoter, and having to find bands, and I've got some friends that are all musicians and some smaller local bands, and that was very helpful. And the first year we had, I would say, most of our bands were very similar in nature. A lot of your 70s, 80s cover bands, but they also were. Whether it was acoustic or one person or 3 or 4 people and a drummer, it was a variety, but it was very similar. I use the story, and some people, some people would have enjoyed this, and some it might have made their skin crawl. But I heard the same Fleetwood Mac song on 4 porches.
Oh, really?
But they all played it differently, so you could walk by and you probably wouldn't have noticed. But that was for me and my co-producer. That was kind of a springboard into, okay, as we grow this event, let's try and change to bring a variety of musicians in. And so this year we're really excited that we are kind of spreading our wings a little bit and getting in a variety of musicians and musical types and just exposing people to just different flavors of music.
So what different genres are represented?
So we have we've got Joy Collins, who is she does more jazz type music, and then we've got Pork and Beans, who is they're a New Orleans jazz style band. John Gilmore is a singer songwriter. He does his own. It's more folk music. He writes all of his own original music. D-Rock and the Bulletproof Soul is a soul band, and they're high energy horns, synthesizers. And then Sweet Poison Victim is a new band this year, which I'm really excited about. They're styled after a 70s Ghana pop band, so
awesome.
like a late 70s pop music that they've put out several albums and kind of well known throughout the Midwest. Then we've got a couple of just hard rock bands. That we've got one that's an all cover band and one's all original. And then with this year we're also adding a 14, 15-year-old high school kid rock band.
Oh,
and
really?
they're really fun. They bring a lot of energy. So that's another fun ad as well. We've also got a high school jazz porch, which last year was a lot of people. It was a highlight for them. And we've got a couple of singer-songwriters that do a lot of cover music as well, that it's just them with a guitar. And then we've also got some bluegrass as well. So and then we've got a couple of things we're still working on that we don't have nailed down. Our current wants are a mariachi band. We'd like to get a faith-based band. So we're trying to expose a lot of different, just a lot of different variety of music.
I think that's awesome. One of the names I saw, I don't know if they're actually in it is Moontown Pickle Stompers.
Yes.
Okay. I mean,
They were the first band booked for the first year, and now they're a staple.
all right. What do they? What are they?
They will tell you that they are a pre-war era cover band. So the Hoosier Hot Shots was a band from I believe the 20s,
Okay.
20s and 30s. They had slide whistle, and they were comical, and they were on a lot of variety shows. And so they do a lot of. They've got an upright bass and a slide guitar and a tenor banjo and tenor guitar and a harmonica, and they just have a lot of fun. They'll do some Cab Calloway and just lots of fun stuff. Very, very crowd engaging.
Well, I mean, I would go just because of the name. There's some of these names.
Sure.
I mean, the Moontown Pickle Stompers. I mean, the Sweet Poison Victim.
Right.
I don't know how they came up with some of their names, but they are phenomenal.
So, and I don't even want to attempt to tell the story of Sweet Poison Victim because I'll butcher it. But if I'm not mistaken, it was there was a drink or something that was called Sweet Poison, and if you had too many of them, you were the victim of sweet poison. It's something along those lines.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna have to go look it up.
But I know, like Pork and Beans, every year I get to talk about Pork and Beans being a band, and they are so fun. They're high. There's several of the bands are high energy, very crowd engaging, which is really fun.
Right. I would think that would be what you'd want. So it doesn't cost anything.
No.
When is it?
August 26th. So mark your calendars when you flip over to January 1 in 2024. Just start marking down last Saturday of August. That's what the plan is. So August 26th. It also coincides with we didn't realize this when we planned it. Last Saturday of August is National Play Music from Your Porch Day.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we thought that was kind of a fun little coincidence.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's from 2 to 6:30?
2 to 6:30. And the way this works this year, the reason why we wanted to add more bands, we've got every band will play a 45-minute set. And we started off with every band playing 2 sets. So you'd play 45 minutes, and then so for the next 3 sets, it would be different bands. And then it would reboot, and you could see every band if you wanted to. Well, we decided that we wanted to bring more music varieties in. And so we have 6 premier bands that are going to play 2 sets. And then we're filling in the gaps with 12 other bands, so that we'll play 1 set each.
Okay.
So every band will get a 45-minute set.
Okay. That takes a lot of figuring out, I'm guessing.
So Ken and I sit down in September, just a few weeks after the end of the first event, and we start planning the next year's event. And the way we have it scheduled, it's a really fun. We really enjoy putting it together. The absolute worst part is sitting down and looking at the map of all the porches with the list of bands and trying to map out, because you have volume issues, you have proximity issues, and you don't want one band to drown the other band out, because that's just going to make a more challenging experience for the people that are attending. And so we try to, but you're always going to have some possible concerns. But yeah, mapping it out is my least favorite thing to do.
I think so. So how does somebody, if they're going to go, they don't live right there where they can walk to it, where do they park?
That's a great question, because Noblesville is notorious, like a lot of small downtowns. There's parking's at a premium. We've had several people that have donated their business parking lots. So Church Hill Antrim has been fantastic in donating their lot, which is in the corner of Connor Street and 10th Street, which we start, if you're familiar with downtown Noblesville, Logan Street, it'll start at 10th Street and we'll go to 14th Street.
Okay.
And so right around the corner is Church Hill and Antrim's parking lot. And then what's called the Farm, which is right along Connor Street as well. It is right around 14th Street. Has donated their parking as well. That's where I think Northview Christian Church has a satellite church there for anybody, if that's a memory marker, or the old Boys and Girls Club is what that parking lot is. And we also have the new government building, which has 4 floors, which is it's about 2 blocks away, but that's free parking as well. And then if you can find any spots, parked along the side streets.
Right. And so you've got that sounds like plenty of parking. Is all this on the website?
It is. It's all on our website, which is noblesvilleporchfest.com. And you can find out the band list. You can find out the location. We're going to be updating a map with a location of all the parking, but also what bands are going to be on what porch and at what time. So if you have a band that you really want to see, I know that some of these bands have pretty good followings as well. You'll know where to go. But noblesvilleporchfest.com will also take you to our Instagram page and our Facebook page.
Yeah, I just like that. Was one of my questions was going to be, because how do you know where everybody's going to be? You have so many porches that they're on, and they're playing at the same time. So obviously put them far apart, or
we try.
Yeah, as far as you can.
We try.
Or these two are loud, so we won't do them or whatever.
There's not being a real estate and education, being my background before that, not being a music, being a producer of sorts has not been my strong suit, but it's been a fun process to learn.
Now, do you play music yourself?
No, not at all. I am just a lover of music. Okay. In fact, I'd say a third of these bands are friends of mine. I'm surrounded by great musicians, and they've been a huge help in putting this together.
Yeah, you need as much help as you can get,
right?
And you're seeing it grow. So from the first time to this year, how much growth are you expecting to see?
So we went from we try to estimate on the low side, because we don't want to make this sound bigger than it really is. But we think we had 700 people the first year, and we conservatively estimate that we had about 4,000 last year. Our hope is to get 8,000 this year. We also do know that with growth, and as we advertise this more, we feel like there might be a cap on how far we can grow this, because we don't it's one of the benefits of this event is it's intimate. I mean, you can sit down and enjoy, and and like I think I said, we don't want any vendors, just because we want you to come and enjoy the day and not have to worry about anything other than music and hanging out with your friends and making new friends. And it's been such a community draw that is one of the most beautiful things about it, is you don't know people, but you're enjoying music together. And I kind of wandered there for a second about what I can remember. What's your first question?
No, you're answering everything. It's very, I think like the intimacy is important. It sounds like.
Oh. That's what I said. Then that's so growing it, we don't want to expand it to another street. We don't want to make it longer. 4.5 blocks to enjoy a variety of music is great. And one of the things that we like that it's I don't want to say compact, but it's consolidated. And when you watch a family come and drop their blanket down on the street, and they brought their own meal for dinner or for a late lunch, and then when that band ends, they wrap everything up and they go to another porch and they settle it down. If you make it bigger, you can lose those opportunities. And we don't want anybody to feel like they have to travel and walk an extensive amount of time just to go see a particular band. And so growth is important for any event. You want to fine tune it, but we also feel like there might be a ceiling on this event. And so we're trying to figure out, is that 8,000? Is it 10,000? What is that?
Yeah, I think you're going to have trouble. Because
probably
I think it's
will.
going to get bigger and bigger.
I do too.
Everything I've seen, I'll just use Carmel as an example. I used to volunteer for I'm really into cars, if anybody can't tell by watching a video of me. But I'm very into cars. So they have the Artomobilia in Carmel.
Oh, right. And
it started off, and I volunteered for it. It started off pretty small, and it got so big, I won't even come down. There's too many people.
Right.
I have plenty of opportunities to go look at great cars, and but it's a phenomenal event. But it's got, I mean, you how do you stop the amount of people from coming? That it's very difficult.
Right, and that's the benefit of starting small, is you've got room to grow, and so I think we'll that's one of those problems. I think we will welcome the challenge eventually, but and we'll cross that bridge when we get there. What we have to do, but and it's one of those things too that maybe it gets to a spot where it just naturally starts to cap itself.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, I'll bet you figure it out, and I'll bet you figure out how to expand it and keep those things that are important to you,
Right.
like the intimacy, things like that.
Right.
Now, I know there's food there.
Right.
What I know you everything you do there, which I think is really cool, is you keep it all local.
Right. With year one, we were just trying to provide opportunities for people to have food and enjoy music. And we planned it so late that I was scrambling that the local restaurants we were coming out of COVID and they were having staffing issues. So we had several restaurants that said, hey, this is a great idea, but we just can't. We don't have the manpower to do it. So we moved on. I was going to reach out to some food trucks. And I mentioned that I went to go talk to a couple of food trucks, and first I called them, and they're booked out. And this was one of those blessings in disguise. And so then I went down, and I was going to go talk to a food truck. And when I went there, I realized all the generators that were running, 2 and 3 generators per truck. And when you've got an acoustic singer, an acoustic guitar and singer, it doesn't take much to drown them out sometimes. Right. And so that reinforced that year 2, we really wanted to work hard at getting local restaurants that have food tents available. So this year our goal is to have 3, and we have two locked in. 9th Street Bistro, which is in downtown Noblesville, and so is Debbie's Daughters. 9th Street Bistro is a restaurant it's a fantastic restaurant. And they've made grab and go food, and they'll sell wine and drinks as well. And then Debbie's Daughters is a cafe and bakery. And so last year they had baked goods, and they had, I think they called them bougie sliders. They were fantastic little grab and go sandwiches. And then they had drinks as well. And then we had Primeval Brewery. Said it was one of the best days that they'd had at an event. So this year we're in conversation with 2 other restaurants trying to get one more down. So we will have one more restaurant from the square in Noblesville serving as well.
Was there anything that goes better than music and beer?
No, not at all. I think it's and also too, one of the things that we do want to don't be afraid to bring your lawn chairs, and if you've got your own little cooler, with it being closed off like it is, it's like going to a concert at the park. That's how we kind of tell people, bring your chairs, bring your blankets. We want you to be comfortable. We want you to enjoy the show.
Yeah, it's going to be one of my questions is, having done this, you've done it, what should somebody, what should they know about the event? They bring their own chairs.
Bring your own chairs. Put on your comfortable shoes. It is only 4 blocks, but if you want to walk and if you want to see multiple bands, there's going to be some walking that you're going to want to do. And depending on the weather, be prepared for the weather. It is a shaded street, and this is one of the you don't always know what problems when you have an outdoor event. Some porches are better shaded than others, and some parts of the street are better shaded than others. And one of the most frustrating things is to see a great band with nobody watching them because it's in the sun. And so we're trying to tackle that problem if it's tents, if it's a misting fan or something. But yeah, come ready to I think of it like going to those concerts in the park, like I know the Gazebo and Clay Terrace, Dillon Park, all of them have their own little free concerts.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know for me, I can't handle the sun. I'm pale as can be. Sure. I can't handle it. So I would still want to watch, but I would have to find some place.
Right. And that's, to be fair, they're pockets.
Yeah.
And we're trying to add more porches because year 1, there were a handful of people like, oh yeah, use our porch. And there were a handful of people that was like, well, we support the event, but we want to see how this goes. And then last year we had more people volunteer to step up their porches. And this year we're trying to move them around to what's the best for the band and best for the fans as well, so that everybody has a great experience.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful setting.
Oh, it is.
I think
it really is. I was just talking with somebody. They were asking like, why there? And they said, well, do you live on Logan Street? And I was like, no, I live one block south of Logan Street. I just feel that Logan Street captures. It might sound corny, but it's Americana. It's just old school. It's just old. In my mind, old Indiana. It's a brick-lined street. It's got gorgeous homes that are over 100 years old. And a lot of effort's been going into these homes to really just showcase what downtown Noblesville really is like. And so it's a wider street, and when you get the opportunity to block it off, the bands and the fans, it's to me, some of the pictures they could happen from any decade. They're timeless.
Yeah. I know what I've looked at on the website is it just seems to me that if you go to the website, I really want to communicate is if you go to the website, anybody listening, it's NoblesvillePorchfest.com.
Mm-hmm.
There you really get a really good sense of what this is all about and why you would want to go.
Right.
I think it's a phenomenal idea. Like I said, we're always looking for things to do, and it's why I wanted to do this, is because I thought, well, I want to get the word out because there's a lot of people like me. I want our friends to go. We've talked to several of them. We'll probably all go together, because it's just a really cool event. And the other thing that I don't know if everybody feels this way, but I've gotten to the feeling like no matter what I do or where I go, everybody has their hand out for money.
Mm-hmm.
And you aren't doing that.
No. Now I'll step sideways for just a second. It is a completely free event. We've been asked by a great number of people how they can help out. We do have a GoFundMe page, not because we need the money, but there are a lot of people that like to help out, and they feel like if they can do something to contribute. So we do have a GoFundMe. And I want to kind of offset that conversation that it's not an expectation that anybody does anything. But we felt some people just want to give. And so we've set that up as an opportunity. So to one of your what you were saying made me think about, we've had 2 complaints over the last 2 years. First year, we didn't have any restrooms because we didn't know where to put them. That was a big thing that we didn't, a kind of an aha moment. Where do you put porta pots when you're using everybody's house?
Right. Oh.
And so we did find 2 locations that we put porta pots out last year, and we put signs out, but they were like 10 inches off the ground. So if somebody was standing by it, no one could see the signs because the porta pots were off the street.
Oh, okay.
So there will be restrooms. We have better signage this year that'll be in the middle of the streets, bigger signs that say restrooms. But that was on those restroom signs will be a QR code to our GoFundMe page. And it's not that we are anticipating or have any expectation. It's just for the person that really, really appreciates giving and wants to support the event. But to your point, that is I can't emphasize it enough that we really do appreciate not having vendors. Last year we had, in the middle of the event, Ken and I both had people come up to us and say, "I love this event. Can I do this?" And we were like, "No." And that's a hard thing to tell somebody no, because they said that they want to support the event, but they also want to do something as well. And we just want enjoy the day.
Yeah. And to me, that makes total sense. And what I was saying is, it's like, if I'm on the internet, if I'm on Facebook, everybody has their hand out, right? Mm. There's always something there.
There's always something.
There's no matter what you get on your email, and there's emails to you trying to sell you something. Mm-hmm. Everybody who's going to benefit you, and but all they need is your money, right? It's different than if I go to an event, I get a lot of value out of it, and then I would want some way to support the event, because if I support the event, it gets better.
Right. And what we've done to that point, our fundraising, we operate at almost a zero balance. We fundraise, like we set our budget and we fundraise to get to that budget. We're not trying to operate with it's all, and really what we're paying for. We've increased how much we pay our musicians and advertising and signs. I mean, that's our budget for the most part. And so if you give to that GoFundMe, it helps offset the cost for the musicians to give them more money, and it sets us up for next year, because a lot of them, I knew nothing about booking a band, and so I just started calling bands and saying, "This is what we can pay you." I didn't know I was supposed to ask, "How much do you charge?" and so several of them were very honest and said, "We really like the sound of this event, and this is your first year. they did it for a pay cut. Like they said, well, we don't get to the north side of Indianapolis very often, so we would love to participate in this event. And then when they came back for year 2, it was the same thing. It's like they called me and said, we had a great time at your event. Even though I knew they took a pay cut, and they knew they were taking a pay cut in year 2. So now in year 3, we've increased our budget to help pay our musicians more. Because we've learned a little bit along the way, but in that regard.
Yeah. But it's great for them. And you have to have the money, it's such a great event. I can see why people, when they go, they want to,
right.
That it's, I don't know. I just think that somebody who just gives you an opportunity, but doesn't bug you for money is different than somebody who,
right.
they're, and like you said, you wanted to, at some point, maybe you put, something to cover you keep the sun out in the areas.
Right.
Okay. Well, that costs money.
Right.
Right.
And that's what we want. That's where whenever we find a need, we're like, okay, where can we go get some more money for this? And I got to tell you a real quick story, because one of the bands, they have not been together a year yet. They put the band together solely to be in the Front Porch Music Fest for year 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So they've done a few local gigs, and they've done a few things. But one of them told me, he's like, somebody told me, he's like, well, you know why they got together, right? And I was like, no. And he said, so when I sent the ask, I was like, hey, we've got a porch for you. Would you like to put your band in it? I don't think I had to hit send, and I'd already had a reply back. We're in. So,
well, they obviously see that it's a fun thing to do.
Right.
They see the value in it.
Right.
And so, I mean, I think it sounds like it's great for everybody. The bands love it. The fans love it. Everybody loves it.
We had an offshoot this year. We did a spring concert series that rotated. Instead of being on Logan Street, it was everywhere but Logan Street. We had, I think, four concerts, and we had 2 bands at each house, and all of them had participated in the event. So it was kind of showcasing a few bands and letting other people that wanted to kind of do that wanted to help out and support, but they had it at their house because around Noblesville.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. So, just somebody wants to find out more about the event. What is the best way?
The best way is to go to noblesvilleporchfest.com, and from there we have information about the bands. We'll have information about the parking. We will have a map with all the locations up soon. You'll be able to see, and right now I think we have 17 bands. We had a band that had to back out. We're looking at adding more. You'll find our information on our social media. So if you are on Facebook or Instagram, we are working at really improving our social media presence as well, because we know that's where everybody lives these days. Not everybody goes to the webs, to the internet as often as they used to, but that's where you can get most of the information, or all the information. And then if you want to really follow us for updates, you can follow us on our Instagram account and our Facebook page.
Yeah, and that makes sense, because you're going to put out more information, show people where to park,
right?
Where the bands are going to be, which it's a lot easier if you know exactly what's going on to.
Right.
Like what bands you want to go to probably also depends on where you want to park.
We've also found that some of these bands have, because of, it goes both ways. Because of Porchfest, people have started following bands when they hear that there are other locations, but also people that already know these bands are coming to Porchfest to see some of these bands as well.
I would think so. My son, when they got married, there was a band here in town they love, and that's who they had because they had heard them at some festival or something. So it starts at 2:00, goes to 6:30.
Correct.
August 26th.
August 26th. One other thing too, if you stay till 6:30, there'll be a parade march from the Porchfest to Primeval. One other thing I want to emphasize, the reason we timed it from 2 to 6:30 is that it's between lunch and dinner. That we've got great restaurants on the square. So go to lunch, come and see us afterwards, or stay till 6:30, be a part of the march, and go have dinner on the square as well. Because not all the restaurants are going to be able to participate, because we don't want to flood it with food. We want to really, we want you to we want the ones that do participate, we want them to be. We don't want them to overcook or anything,
Right.
over prepare, and so 6:30 is a good time for then everybody go have some drinks and dinner on the square.
I thought for sure you said stay till 6:30 because then you can help clean up.
No.
I'm sure that's what you were going to say.
No. That's there's not much cleanup. The bands kind of take care of themselves.
And I'm sure you're there the whole time, right?
I racked up. I walked 4.5 blocks, totaling 8.5 miles.
Wow, that's a lot of walking.
You want to make sure that
How many
everybody's
steps
okay.
is that?
I have no idea. All I know is I don't know if I was pretty tired at dinner.
I'll bet you were. So, should they get there earlier than 2, or is it 2 when you get there?
The bands start playing. There'll be 4 bands playing at 2. There'll be no more than 4 bands playing at a time.
Okay.
So that way, plenty of opportunity to get there. But we're trying to do things a little differently, where we're front loading some great bands at the beginning that are going to be a big draw, and then some great bands at the end to keep everybody there.
Okay. So you don't want to arrive at 2 if you want to see one of the first 4 bands.
Yeah.
You want to get there a little early.
Right.
So
You want to get there. Yeah. The music starts at 2.
Okay. Take your chairs.
Take your chairs. So
Take
you
your
might want to be
blankets.
there a few minutes early to get set up and ready to go.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Perfect. And if anybody has any real estate needs, you'll be
Oh,
there. They can
absolutely.
find you, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
I will be there for any real
And
estate
it's
needs.
Jason Pearson with Carpenter Realtors.
That's correct.
And what's the best way for them to get a hold of you for real estate?
My phone number is 317-289-3986. Call, text. You can email me as well at jppearson@callcarpenter.com.
Awesome. And you can get a hold of Ian or I at hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great day.
Branch NMLS number 33041. Rick Ripma's NMLS number 664589. Ian Arnold's NMLS number is 1995469. Equal housing opportunity. Some restrictions apply.